All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another edition of the Wilds War Cry. And this week, there are going to be a lot of people talking about CM Punk. His contract's expired. He's posted that last tweet to thank everybody. I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to focus on it because everybody else is going to be doing it. And frankly, I'd rather focus on people who actually want to be in the company, who want to be in the business, who didn't quit. And that may sound kind of harsh, but I think it's true. And just before anybody accuses me of it, this is not me saying he's never coming back or anything like that. I'm not going to waste my time on him. All right, so this week, what actually should be focused on, at least in TNA, is that apparently even the TNA creative team agrees with me that Willow is a useless character. And they had Kurt Angle come out and ask him if Jeff Hardy could come out to play for the main event that night, which was actually a pretty cool main event. There was also a really good couple tag team matches. The tag team of Magnus and Bram actually is starting to really work for me, especially Bram's look. A lot of people were kind of underplaying Bram, but he's got the look for it, and he could do some really cool stuff. There was a very good knockouts match. Gail is probably just so talented, and it was fun. It was set up perfectly. Everybody played their parts correctly. It was a good match. I was glad to see the knockouts get some extra time in what seemed like a pretty well-packed edition of Impact. I don't really know exactly where they're going with these plans, which makes me kind of interested to see what they do. But if I was the one back there booking, I'd really question where this was going. Anyway, for NXT this week, there was an amazing main event that involved Justin Gabriel, Tyson Kidd versus Sami Zayn and Neville. Great event. Great match. If you didn't see it, I would suggest you go watch it. Plus, we're still seeing a little bit of the newer people in NXT, and they have a lot going on for their women's division right now. There's some stuff building for that, with Charlotte being the new champ and everybody kind of coming for her title. So we'll see how that goes. If you missed SmackDown, Chris Jericho versus Orton was a good match. It wasn't the worst ending. It builds the storyline for them. So I'm not necessarily saying that the ending ruined it, but I would have actually loved to see a winner between those two. There are some times that a match is just so good that when, there isn't a proper ending, it just kind of pisses you off, but we'll see. I don't know. The last thing I kind of want to talk about with Raw. So Raw was a decent show. It was a little mediocre, especially when you look at it as the go-home show for Battleground, which is a pay-per-view that came up really quick after what I thought was actually a really decent pay-per-view, Money in the Bank. I don't know how Battleground's going to go. I have high hopes. However, I'm not going to be holding my breath because there's a lot that could go wrong with that. And I'm looking right now. I'm starting to make my predictions and everything for Battleground. And as I analyze everything, without proper build-up, which is one thing I think that WWE is really lacking this day and age with the wrestling, it's hard to predict some of them. But at the same time, I guess it makes things a little bit more unpredictable. And some people might like that. But there was nothing wrong with the show. There was nothing wrong with Raw. The main event was fine. I think they did a good job of scaring everybody thinking that Rollins was actually hurt, which trust me, I'm glad he's not. I want to see this fight between him and Ambrose at the pay-per-view, but I have a feeling that this one is not going to end. There's going to be something cheap or there's going to be interference or something. I don't think that this is going to be an actual match. But what really stood out to me in this entire program was the thing with Sting. And I'm going to explain why. This worries me a little bit because when I saw Sting's tweet with the date, I knew, because I keep up with a lot of the information from the outside, that he wasn't actually going to be on the program. Maybe like a recorded video message or something. But I knew, and there were people who were thinking he was going to come in as a character, and I was just like, no, that's not going to happen. It's just, the stuff's not in place yet. And I was right. So I didn't get my hopes up. And then I saw, the trailer for the video game, which I will pick up. I actually did not pick up 2K14 just because, to me, it seemed rushed, and it seemed like something that they were, just kind of putting out at the end there, since the company switched over and now it's fully 2K's responsibility. I'm interested in 15, and that's not true. I may still pick up 2K14 at some point just to play through the WrestleMania mode. This one's going to be a little bit different. I think this one's going to be better. And then when I saw the inclusion of Sting, I was like, well, that's neat, but I'm really I'm really hoping this isn't all they're planning on doing with him. I know they have this DVD coming out, and I know he's eventually, unless just something horrible happens, he's going to be a name for the Hall of Fame in the next, 5 years or so. It's kind of hard to predict now, because forever it took them a while. But the point behind all this is that it would be really cool if they would actually do something better with him. I think that just relegating him to this, the man is still a personality. I know they're so worried about the fans not knowing who he is and everything, but he could still be used beautifully. And I know he recently said in an interview he wants one more match. He wants it with The Undertaker. I would give so much money to see that. And I really hope WWE, assuming he is medically capable, doesn't stand in the way. And I'm going to have some people that are going to respond with, Sting sucks in the ring now. Shut up. No, he doesn't. Actually, I think for his age, he moves pretty well. And I think he could at least give us one more really good match, or maybe even a series of 3 or something. And I'm a Sting fan, and I'll be the first to admit that I didn't actually like Sting at first. When I was watching him as a kid, I don't know, the blonde hair and the bright colors actually threw me off a little bit. But, as soon as his storyline started really picking up, and I remember one of the first times I actually saw him fight Vader, you had to respect him. And then it just, as soon as the NWO thing happened, that's when, man, Sting, in my eyes, just blew up. And Sting is just, even his in-ring skills are great, but just there is such an intensity behind Steve Borden. It's just kind of a fire behind him that he has always given so much to a project. But anyway, I'm really hoping WWE can smooth this out. I'm really hoping that we see him in some type of role, on the television shows, in the ring, something. I'm begging you, do something good with him. Because that is a talented person, and I think, that's don't waste it. Don't waste that opportunity. I know, WWE, I know you. You waste opportunities left and right, but I think this one you should take your time with and do it correctly. But don't cheapen it by doing these little reveals and stunts. The video game thing wasn't that bad because we didn't actually see Sting except for the part in the commercial. I don't want to see them like 2 weeks on Raw, him coming out and revealing the cover. I know the cover's already revealed, but something like that. It could really just hurt when they actually do something with them or try to do something with them. Anyway, so my question for this week: do you have a favorite Sting match? What do you like or not like about Sting? Or are you one of the listeners who just really had never been exposed to Sting before and this is your first exposure to him? I'm kind of interested to know. But if you have any comments, questions, otherwise, you know how to do this, all right? You leave it on the website, you put it under the YouTube video, or you find me on Twitter @StephenWilds. And until next time, this has been the Wilds War Cry.